Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is Societal Narcissism. This video is sponsored by contribution from Michael, and here's his story. Hi, Ollie. Good for you for taking the stray cat in. My wife and I have one we're helping right now. Anyway, here's a story I thought you might like. It is appropriate given the recent Trump win. In 2011, the company I worked for here in Missouri went on a hiring spree, and we had a new guy named Mike join us from the Seattle area. Oh boy. Seattle to Missouri. I bet that was some freaking culture shock. So some crunchy from Seattle. Huh? So here comes some crunchy wook from Seattle to Missouri. Oof. His wife Terry relocated shortly after with their son. Terry and Mike were somewhere between Boomer and Gen X age. She soon requested to meet up for dinner with my wife and I as she heard I was British. Unfortunately, a new friendship between us soon went off the rails because she could not handle the fact that I was from England, had brown skin, and was conservative. It seemed to really blow up her reality. Oh, I'm sure because you're supposed to think a certain way. I did not know you were. I didn't know you were black. I did not. Cool. Black conservative from England. Awesome. See, to her, she thinks you're some kind of fit in some kind of category or some kind of I don't want to say anything that's going to get me going to pick up the algorithm. But you're supposed to know, as a black man, you're supposed to know your place. You're supposed to know your place. You're supposed to fall in line. Because this is what her crunchy look liberal Seattle nonsense has taught her. She knows nothing of the history of black people and brown people in England, but specifically brown people. Now that I know that you're black and you're black and from England, something that like just sticks out in my craw, and I do have other friends from England, that I talk to online, and one of them's into a lot of hip hop and rap, and it's something but it's British hip hop and British rap. And something I noticed about it is the black Brits have all tried to take up this American perspective of black life and black culture. Like the BLM movement, the Black Lives Matter movement in England makes zero sense to me because slavery had been outdated since I believe at least the early 1800s. Life was so good in England for black people. Before the Civil War happened here, Frederick Douglass, and if you know your history, you know who Frederick Douglass is in American history, was treated so well and so normally in England and in London. He considered living there permanently before he got into the breaking up slavery and ending slavery and the freedom movement in the United States. He seriously considered moving to London because for how well and how equal and the equality that black people faced there, how black people were treated there. So when I see this stuff now, to me, it seems like they're a bunch of freaking posers just trying to be like American, live an experience of American blacks that they never really faced. I don't know. As a black British conservative, you could give me your perspective on that because, like, for me, that's something that just seems weird. Like, what are you talking? Like, I kind of know the history of England and slavery and how blacks were treated. So this BLM movement in England where they're talking like American blacks, like they're oppressed. What are they talking about? I don't know, but that's not what this is. So, moving on with Mike's story. It seemed to blow up her reality. I remember we went to their house one day after the Duck Dynasty incident. Duck Dynasty incident. I don't know what that is. Was somebody, did like the old man drop say the N-word here? Like, I don't remember. I remember there was something. And I remember at the time, I thought it was a lot of BS, and I'm sure it was because they're still around. Okay. But there were people trying to I remember there was something they were trying to have him canceled, and I think it was something that the old man said. I don't remember. But I think it was an N bomb from like the 60s, or I don't remember. Or maybe something was said in a book where they admitted to something in a book, or something racial in a book. Like, it was silly. Like, it was silly. It was years ago. I think it was something like the old man did. But it was like all this uproar. If anybody remembers, or Mike, you could tell me in the what the exact incident was, that'd be great. Before we could sit down, she was immediately asking if we agreed they should have their TV show taken away. Oh, there they go. Always looking, see? That's just it. They're always just looking to punish. They're looking to take away. Always. Always looking for somebody to punish. She was big into the idea of canceling anyone who disagreed with her. It turns out her history was this. Her dad was a conservative war hero. Oh, daddy issues, of course. Her dad was a conservative war hero in Wyoming and even had a statue of himself erected in the town square. Okay, so there might be two things could be happening at once there. He could be a war hero, and he could be a flaming narcissist as well. Who has a statue erected of themselves? Like, I gotta give her a little bit of cushion on that one. Boy, if my father can have a statue erected of himself, he'd do it tomorrow. He'd do it tomorrow. War hero or not, you shouldn't be erecting statues of yourself. Her whole life appears to be some sort of weird backlash against her dad. She got Trump derangement syndrome in 2016, and I often wonder if all TDS boils down to I hate my dad or I hate my ex-husband. It basically boils down to projecting onto Trump whoever that person is that they feel is responsible for whatever slight they feel. That's what that is. Trump is a projection. This is what they do. They project all the hatred they have for their father, their mother, their boyfriend, the boyfriend they couldn't have, the ex they had, their ex, the ex they never had. All of it. That's why it works for them, because Trump being so bombastic, he makes it easy. And not that I think Trump should change at all. He can handle it. Clearly, he can handle it. But this is what's going on with them. And you see, as long as it's no different than when the narcissist in your regular life is attacking you and blaming you and trying to punish you. It's all a deflection so they don't have to look in the mirror and do a deep analysis of who they are. So they don't have to look in the mirror and accept their faults. The louder they scream about Trump or personally about you, the more fearful they are of looking in that mirror and that reflection that's going to stare back at them. That's what it is. It's the fear of the mirror. A lot of this Trump, because they are projecting whoever it is their target, whoever it is they hate, whoever they perceive to be slighted them. They're projecting all of that onto Trump instead of looking in the mirror and say, like, what are my responsibilities in all this? Again, could be, and it sounds like her father had some. If you're going to erect a statue of yourself, man, that's some hubris. That is some hubris. Speaking of which, she wore the pants in her marriage and bragged about how she threw a drink over her husband when they had their first date. So a total weakened cuckboy she's married with. A simp. Why would you want to be mad? See, why would you want to be friends with a guy like that in the first place? Because that's the type of guy that you can't confide in. That's the type of guy you tell him something in confidence, he's going to turn around and use it against you. He's going to spread it against you. Why? Because he's weak, he's feckless, he's a beta. And that's what they do. through a drink and brags about it. And so publicly humiliates him, publicly humiliates them for years, and he just goes along. And a lot of times women like this are looking to be stood, like they just want somebody to stand up. They just want somebody to stand up so they can have some fucking respect. But this guy can't do it. Before our paths crossed, she had worked at a Christian school and had been fired, which is odd given she insisted on putting Star Wars figures up at Christmas instead of anything nativity related. She was a proud atheist. It sounds like she's just a poser, as a lot of those crunchy looks from Seattle are. They are crunchy posers. They are drama kids. They are the drama club kids from high school that never caught on. Like, it's bad enough you're dealing with these drama club kids in Hollywood and acting, but you're also dealing with them. They're part of Antifa and this resistance movement. It's drama club kids who never made it. They need it. They need the drama in their lives. It's role playing. It's acting. It's all taunting. It's all meant to taunt these people, to taunt society. She's trying to taunt society with her degeneracy. That's what they do. That's what the left does. They taunt society with their degeneracy. What they found out this past election was society's had about enough of their crap. And they don't like being stood up to. And they don't like being put in their place. And they don't like being told that their opinion isn't the opinion. And then that's when you have these full-on meltdowns, which are hilarious, and I will be getting into those and making videos on some of these meltdowns. Because I'll tell you what, some of those meltdowns, and I'm sorry if I'm getting off on it, because I'll tell you what, some of those meltdowns are very triggering to me. And it should be, and I bet they're triggering to you. Because there's a couple of them where that anger and rage, especially the black girl in the car, the why you hate me, why? I have seen that rage directed at me by my mother. I can't tell you how many times. That crazed look of this scream, and she would do that and yell at you, and she would yell at me like over, like, say, the elect, even though it's not, like something that had nothing to do with you, but she would project that issue and scream at you and beat you like you had something to do with it. That crazed, deluded look. Same thing with the woman who got, unfortunately, bang bang till she's not here. When the police went to her door and she came out. She was an ex-basketball player from Georgetown. Came out with a knife, just swinging, cut the cop, and the freeze frame and the look and the expression on that woman's face as she's in full-on attack mode. I can't tell you how many times I saw that look from my mother coming at me. And I know there's a lot of women, and especially a lot of my black women followers, have seen those same expressions from their mothers too. Oof. Oof. Her kids turned out a bit weird, clearly. One daughter was a vapid super slut who hurt Terry's feelings during a visit from Seattle one weekend, and she met a local guy at a club and vanished a few days. Didn't bother telling her mom she was okay until she reemerged a few days later from what I can only imagine was some black belt level dick sucking. One autistic girl who was really sweet had made a good life for herself. And one autistic boy who was good at heart and super intelligent, but threatened to kill himself when his first internet relationship didn't work out. Okay. So she's claiming, again, and You know where I'm at with autism. Autism is real. I believe it's a real condition. I just think it is overdiagnosed 95% of the time. Okay. These kids, a lot of these kids, and especially these two who are autistic, are really just being abused by a borderline mother. It's a reaction to being raised by a borderline mother. You shut down. You figure out saying less is more. You learn to survive. It is a survival tactic. The source of that type of autism, I'm not talking about actual autism. I'm talking about these high functioning autistics. They're not high functioning autistics. They've just been abused by cluster B personality disordered parents. More than 9 times out of 10, a borderline personality disordered mother. Last I heard, he was out in the middle of the riots in Seattle back in 2020. Of course he was. I mean, of course he was. Of course he was. These kids also called their parents by their first names as opposed to mom and dad, which was bizarre. It all came to a head when I called out Antifa for being violent in the run up to the 2016 election. She took offense to me calling them Bernie's thugs and Trump supporters throwing them out of the arena. She finished with a nasty rambling message. Don't lecture me about free speech after I laid down some facts. Then blocked me with a final link to a study that said people who watch Fox News are dumber than people who watch MSNBC. I bet her husband is having a rough weekend after the election. Hope you enjoy. Be safe, my man. I'm sure they're all having a very rough weekend or a very rough week. I'm sure they all are. You know, it's funny. It really is because every time, once you let the scenario play out, the left turns out to be everything they accuse the right of being. 100% of the time. 100%. And I have a visitor here. And I have, and we got the beef. Say hi, the beef. The beef stays right by my side. So he has a little respiratory thing, so he's having heavy breathing problems. But he's my boy. And his sister's in with Charlene. And they're wonderful kittens. For those kittens are doing very well. And still, he's doing very well with them too. So thank you to everybody who was asking. Just a good boy. And we renamed them. I think I told you that their names were Sheba and what the hell was his name originally? Doesn't matter. Anyway, we renamed him. This is Beavis. It's a perfect name because sometimes he's Beavis, and then at night he turns into Cornholio. Don't you turn into Cornholio? And then his sister's name is Daria, and Daria has a little attitude problem. She's very adorable. So that is that. But thank you, Mike, for your contribution and story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you like me to cover, something you like to expose, you like to set up a Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, you'd like to sponsor a video like this if someone needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. You guys, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with either the Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, and email links in the description box below. You can buy them toys. Say I need cat food and I need toys and all that. So help out. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Also be sure to subscribe to both my channels on Rumble. Follow me on Twitter and Telegram as well. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been Societal Narcissism. See you later.